Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And this is leading into what we're calling Pillars of Prosperity Conference. We're going to be live in Orlando, Florida. All right, let me put my information up here so you guys can see it. Okay, we're going to be live in Orlando, Florida, January 31st. Okay, so you want to be there. And where's my graphic? All right, there it is. No, there it is. My graphic for the ticket. So get your ticket at popclive.com, P.O.P.C.L.I.V.E, P.O.P.C.L.I.V.E. And today, folks, today we're going to be talking about, leading into that conference, we're going to be talking about interest only loans and how powerful a tool they are. So if you're ready to learn something new, something different, something fantastic, something that will like twist your brain in such a way that you say, how in the world can an interest only loan be the very best mortgage available? You're going to find out today. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh man, I am excited today about this subject. Welcome to Pill Method Live, and we're getting ready to go to Orlando. I want to see you guys in Orlando, so I'm going to make sure you get the information. So you're going to get information like this and a lot more. But today is special. Today I'm talking about information about your money is paramount this year. I mean, 2025, you have to be educated about money, how to borrow it, how to use it, how to leverage it. And one of the best ways that I know of is an interest only loan. So I want to invite some people to the stage. If you're here in Clubhouse with us, go ahead and raise your hand, come to the stage, ask your questions, get involved. Even if you don't have a question, come to the stage anyhow to learn. I mean, I need you to raise your hand. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Listen, who's going to be the first? Who will be the first to do that? So I'm going to start adding some things to the comment section. All right. And let's see, P.O.P.C.I.V.E.com. All right. So if you want more information about how to get tickets to see us live in Orlando, we're going to put that in the chat, okay? So that you will be able to come and see us in Orlando. Okay. All right.com. There we go. Popclive.com. All right, there you are. So you want more information about that? So now, Don, you may want to know, are there any banks where we can get an interest-only loan that I recognize that is reputable? Well, yes, there are, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But there was a time when an interest-only loan was a bad thing. Yeah, well, a couple of times in our history. Prior to 1936, prior to 1936, if you had a mortgage, it was most likely an interest only mortgage. And most people just paid the interest for the term that they were in, whether it was a 3-year term or 5-year term or 10-year term. You paid interest only on your loan. You had to have 50 to 80% down and pay interest only. And then no money went to principal. The principal stayed the same the entire time. Once you got at the end of your term, then what happened next is that you would have to, refinance that loan or pay the huge balloon payment at the end. Most people did not, so they just refinanced the loan until 1929 and the stock market crash and everything just went to hell in a handbasket. So here we're talking about today. The second time was prior to 2008. There were a lot of interest only loans out there that were variable rate. And when the rates changed, people couldn't afford the payments. It was a crazy mess. The reason why it got to be a mess in 1929 and in 2008 is because people were not properly educated on an interest only loan. So let me put on the screen here. So if you want to see this, you want to go to the link that's at the top here. Click on that link and you'll be able to see everything I'm talking about on YouTube. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on the screen. There we go. Let me see. I'm All right. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. All right. Robert, can you hear me now? Okay. I think I think we figured out what was wrong. All right, folks. So let me back up a little bit for the folks that were watching us. All right, Helen, thank you so very much. All right, so here we go, folks. Let me start over just a little bit. We're talking about an interest-only loan. So if we have an interest-only loan, it's at $400,000 at 7%. 400,000 at 7%. Let me see here. Get my banner together. All right, and there we go. And the payment is $2,661.21. The interest only payment is $2,333.33. And this is a variable rate loan, so the interest can go up. The interest payment can go up, and which could cause a problem if we're not careful. Now, the other thing is if we keep this loan for 10 years, that interest payment times 120 payments is $279,999. $280,000 goes out, and not a dime of that pays off the loan. And in 10 years, you start paying on a $400,000 loan, principal and interest. So essentially, the payment is going to get larger because now you have 20 years to pay off $400,000. Watch this. Now let's go back. I'm going to go back to the Chase website, okay? And it says here, it can be paid off faster than a conventional loan if you're making extra payments towards the interest-only loan. I want to show you what happens when you do that. Now, you can pay principal payments anytime you want, even if it's an interest-only loan. And this is the only loan I know of that can do this. I'm just going to pick out some numbers at random. Now, normally, if you were to pay this loan down the regular way, in 1 year, you'd put about $4,000 towards principal. $4,000 towards principal. You can pick any number you want. So let's start out with $1,000. All right. So I owe $400,000. All right. And I have an interest only payment. And I'm going to put $1,000 on principal, which means my mortgage is now $399,000. Okay, $399,000 at 7%. Now, because it's an interest-only loan, okay, I want to show you the difference between the two loans with just $1,000. Okay, so we're going to calculate that. Okay, and now look at my interest-only payment is now $2,327.50. Okay, compared to $2,333.33. Now look at this. Look at this. $2,333, $2,327. So your payment is actually lower because your payment is calculated on the principal balance. So a couple of things here, folks. If you are a real estate investor and you want to create more cash flow, you can get this loan and add some money towards principal. Watch. So if you were to take $4,000 and put it towards that, that would make it $396,000. So we're going to go back. $396,000 that you would owe. If you put $4,000 on it, our payment is now $2,634. $2,634 as opposed to 2000, 2000, let's see, 20, oh, I'm sorry. Your interest only payment is 2310. 2310, let's go down here. 2310 versus 2333. So every time you put money on principal, every single time you put money on principal, you lower your minimum payment. Have you ever seen a loan where you can control your payment before? Have you ever seen that? An interest only loan, you can control your payment. Interest only does not mean you have to pay interest only. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that at all. So here we go. I need you to watch this now. So all right, when it comes to a conventional loan, extra payments can reduce the principal, but the monthly payments remain the same. Listen, you control the principal payment and you control a loan. Interest payments you skip don't matter. You are in complete control with this loan. So let's just say you have the wherewithal to make a regular mortgage payment. Okay? And you have really good income and you have some discretionary funds. You can attack this loan aggressively. You can save up money, every few months and put money on principal. Let's say you have $2,000 in discretionary, and in 5 months, you could have $10,000 saved up. You can put $10,000 on this loan, all right, anytime you want, and bring down the amount of interest that you would be paying. So it would look more like this. So we have 400,000. We're going to put 10,000 on. So we have $390,000. $390,000, and at 7%, same amortization. Okay. And now my interest only payment is $22.75, and not $23.33. Did you know an interest only loan work like that? So if you can afford a regular payment, get an interest only loan and start attacking this thing aggressively, or you can make your regular payment, and every time you make a payment, it lowers your interest only payment. Now, what happens if the interest rate rises? Now, if you were to, we have clients that pay off a regular mortgage, in about 7 years. They pay off our clients pay off their mortgages in about 7 years using their regular budget. Now, why would anybody want to do that? I want to show you first what happens if we have a regular mortgage here. Okay, let me get rid of this one. And if you want to see what's going on here, go to YouTube. We have a regular mortgage here of $400,000 at 7%. And we help them to pay that off in 7 years, which means their regular discretionary income, they're saving it up and applying it to principal at strategic times during the year. Not every month, just strategic times during the year, so that they could save more interest. Because when you give money back to the bank when it's not due, you don't have to pay interest. So if this was a regular loan, I want to show you something. If this was a regular loan, not an interest only loan, at the end of the first year, there's a total payment of, if your mortgage payment is, regular payment is $26.61 and 21 cents. If we multiply that by 12, that's a total of $31,934.52. I need to show you this. Okay. That is $4,063.23 applied to principal, $27,871.29 applied to interest. Out of $31,934.52, only $4,000 is applied to principal. Now, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how we got here, where a real estate investor can look at this and say that's okay. Out of almost $32,000 that my tenant gave me to put towards this mortgage, only $4,000 of those dollars went to create equity. The rest was discounted. So in other words, here's how we should look at it. I'm moving this loan from $400,000 to where I owe $395,936.77. Look at it that way. Where I'm moving it from point A to point B. Point A, point B. 400,000 down to $395,936.77. The bank wants to charge me $27,871.29 to do that. Can anybody give me a good reason to give the bank that kind of money? 27,000 of the dollars my tenant gave me. Or if I'm buying this home for my family, why should I give the bank $27,800 just to pay my loan down by $4,063.23? Or I can give the bank the $4,063.23 up front. So if I do that, I'm going to bring my calculator back. Okay? I'm going to bring my calculator back, and I'm going to show you what I'm saying is true. So let's say here we have, now this is going to be in 3 steps. So pay attention. You need to take notes on this. You need to take notes, right? So if I have $400,000, I subtract $4,063.23. What I have left is $395,936.77. Do you see this? Now, I can do one of 2 things. I can pay it the way that the bank wants me to, but if I have this $4,000, I could give it to the bank all at one time. If I do, I'm paid down to here in 1 month. So how much interest did I save? And I've had this ongoing controversy with some real estate investors as that we really don't save all the interest that I'm saying. And we really don't realize that till the end of the loan. All right. 30 years later. Yeah, not true. And here's why. If I do it the bank's way, and I need you all to put it in the chat for me. If I do it the bank's way, the $27,871.29, is that a real cost? Am I actually paying out that money? Am I paying that out? I need you to tell me. Is that a real cost? Is the $27,871.29, is that a real cost? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Okay? Put it in the comment section if you're watching me online. Okay? Helen Crawley says, yes, it is a real. Tony Lyon says, yes, it's a real cost. All right. So they're charging me $2,300 every month. $2,333, $2,331.42, $2,329.50, $2,320. See, all of these interest payments get added up, and I'm giving them that money to the bank every single month out of my payment. So if I start, let's see, so if I give the bank this money up front, I have $395,936.77. So let's do this. I'm going to copy this. Okay. I'm going to bring up a new amortization, and we're going to put this in, and we're going to do a little math. Okay, paste that in there. All right, take out, if you're using Brett Whistle, take out the comma because they don't like that. Okay, so my payment stays the same. All right, but what's going to change is the number of payments I have left. I need to show you this. Okay, my payment stays the same. Let me see here. All right, and we're going to calculate that. I have 348 payments left. That's exactly 12 payments difference, isn't it? Exactly 12 payments difference. I need to show you this part. At $400,000, if we look at the amount of interest that's paid for 30 years, here's what the bank wants: $558,035.60. Okay, so if I start out the loan here, that's what they're looking for. This loan starts out at $530,164.31. Let's do the math. Okay, so if we do the math, the amount of interest that they're looking for, here's the next step: $558,035.60. And if I give the bank that $4,000 up front, and I do another amortization schedule, okay, we're going to subtract this $530,164.31. So we're going to subtract $530,164.31. That equals $27,871.29. Let me show you something here. $27,871.29. Let me put this back on the screen so you can see it. If I give this money to the bank and I do a new amortization schedule, the amount of interest is $27,871.29 less. Take a look here. It's exactly 27. If I do it the bank's way, I have to give them $27,871.29. If I start out the loan here at $395,000 by giving this money up front, there is no way I can pay them $27,871.29 because I owe less money and there's nothing to calculate the $27,000 on. So what really is happening here, folks, but don't forget, you still have to pay the first month's interest payment, which is $23,33.33. We subtract that from the $27,871, and it's a savings of $25,559.62. So if we pay, listen, this is crazy. If we pay that up front with the first payment, we're paid down to here in 1 month. So if we pay it the bank's way, and if the $27,871 is a real cost, then I get to pay it down to here by giving them this money up front. That means it's a real savings. If this $27,000 is a real cost, if I give the bank money up front, then it has to be a real savings, doesn't it? $25,000 worth of interest. So if you have the money and apply it to principal, you can kill a lot of interest. So if this is an interest-only loan, and we do this, oh my gosh, not only are we putting the money towards principal, but our minimum payment gets lower and lower and lower. So we could put some money towards principal at strategic times during the year, maybe 2, 3, even 4 times during the year? What if it's just 2 times during the year? And you're a real estate investor. As your rents are going up, your payment to the mortgage is going down. And if they have, and I'm going to bring something else up here, all right, so you guys can see this. All right, open that up. Okay, and let's bring up some of these. Let's see here. All right, I want this one. I want to show this one. And this one, this one, and this one. All right, let me bring this up. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this, and I'm going to bring this over so you guys can see. These are actual clients. Okay. So here's one for $123,000. All right, $123,000. And instead of 24 years, they're going to be done in 8 years. Okay. Here's another one. 211,000. All right. Instead of 33 years, they're going to be done in 7.3 years. So if we can show how a person with a regular income can pay off a mortgage in 7 years and all their debt and all their other debt on their credit cards and everything else in 7 years. If you have an interest-only loan and you have a 10-year term, where most people who have that loan are not going to touch principal for the first 10 years. What if you adopt this strategy where we strategically attack an interest-only loan and pay it off in 7 or 8? We never get to see the 10 years. Now, I need you to see this. If they owe $211,000 and they're going to be paid off in 7.3 years, if we just do just a little bit of figuring, does that mean in about 3.5 years, they owe half the money? In about 3.5 years? What about that? Okay, so now I need to show you this. If you have an interest-only loan of $400,000 at a variable rate, and it's at 7%, I want to show you. If in about 3 or 4 years, you could pay off half this loan. So now you have, let's say you have around $200,000, okay? Normally, to pay a loan down, it takes to where you start out at 200,000 and you 400,000, you get it down to 200,000. The bank wants you to take almost 264 payments to get there. 264 payments, 264 divided by 12, 22 years. It normally takes 22 years to pay off half the loan. We show people how to pay off half the loan in about 4.5 to 5 years. Okay, half the loan in that time. So let's just say you owe right now, you owe $200,000. $200,000. And the interest rate goes from 7% because it's adjustable rate. Okay, it goes to 9. Oh, so 200,000. I owe $200,000. Let's do another amortization. Okay. Open a new tab. So we're going to put 200. We owe $200,000 at 9%. Okay. And I've been in the loan for, 4 years. All right. So that means, let's see, four. Okay. That's 36 payments, right? 4 times 12. Let's see. 4 times 12. Okay. 48 payments. So minus 360. Okay. I got 312 payments left. So we're going to put 312 payments in. Okay. At 9% now on $200,000. Here's my payment now. My original payment was 261.61, and my interest only payment was 2309. If I owe let me see, where's my $200,000 loan? Okay, $200,000 loan. Let me move this over here. Uh-oh, where did it go? Doggone it. I lost it. Where'd my $200,000 loan go? I got to do it over again. Sorry about that. All right, 200,000. Let's see. 200,000. Okay, 312. All right. And 9%. Look at this. If you are attacking the loan aggressively and the interest rates go up, do you care? This is why I don't care about variable rates. Because with the P.I.L.L. method, we are using the amortization schedule to our benefit. If we can pay off loans in 7 to 9 years, then that means in about half the time, we could pay off about half the loan. Okay? And if we do that and the interest rates go up, we're still better off. If the interest rates go down, we're in a way better position to attack the loan. So I just need you to understand what is going on here with these interest-only loans. Now, what else? What else can we learn about this? Possible increase to your cash flow. Lower monthly payments can leave you with a few extra dollars in your budget. You can increase cash flow with an interest-only loan. How do you do that? By applying money to principal, which lowers your regular monthly payment. Okay? Rates may be lower. This type of mortgage is usually structured as an adjustable rate loan, which may result in lower rates than a fixed mortgage. But it also could mean a higher interest rate. But if you have a lower principal balance, then I don't care about a higher rate. Do you? Does this make sense to you guys? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I'm not seeing anything in the comments. Does this make sense to you? That an interest-only loan gives you fantastic control over the loan. Jonathan Bing, I see you in here. How are you doing this morning? Can you talk to us? JB, what's up? All right, he's busy. All right. So now somebody online, let's see. Is that a Dwelle? She said they say it makes sense. Daniel says it blows my mind. Okay. So listen, folks, if you understand how if you understand how an amortization schedule works, you are in control of what's going on. So I see Gregory here. I see Daniel here. I see Sheree here. Listen, do you guys have anything to say about this? Open up your mic. What have you learned today? Is everybody busy? They can't talk? Hit that mic, hit that microphone. Gregory, how are you doing this morning? I listen, I know some of you are listening in and you're at work. I get it. I get it. So if you guys are busy, I understand. All right. But I need you all. I need you all. Yeah. So yeah, Daniel says I work. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. But listen, if you want the very best loan available, interest only is going to be the way to go because you are in control. If you control the principal payments, when you make principal payments, and listen, every other loan, every conventional loan, and pay back in a conventional way, okay? The amortization schedule dictates how much principal you pay. But what if you're in a position to dictate that all by yourself? All right. Okay. Scott Wiley says listening in, but yes, makes absolute sense. What you're saying seems kind of crazy. Honestly, never thought of it in this sense, but it makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. Thank you, Scott. That's what Scott says about how an interest only loan works. Now, here are the cons, and the cons. So we did the pros. We got to do the cons. So be careful how you use this thing, because here's what we're going to go over next. What's bad about an interest only loan? You're not building equity in the home. Now, an interest only loan does not mean no equity in the home. Paying interest only for 10 years means no equity in the loan in the home, but an interest only loan doesn't automatically mean that. Let me say that one more time. An interest only loan does not automatically mean no equity. Okay. But paying interest only for 10 years means no equity. All right. Well, at least from the payment. Okay. So that's what we're talking about today, folks. Be in control of your finances through education. This year is going to be the year of financial education. The year of financial education, where you can make money with these loans. Let me go over some things with you. We've got a $400,000 loan at 7%. Let me get rid of this rest of them so I don't get confused here. Okay, we've got a $400,000 loan at 7%. Do not sleep on this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid of 7%, because I'm listening to the experts on CNBC. I'm listening and I'm reading the experts online, and they're saying that we may not get back into the fives until 2026. And Jonathan, if I say anything that's out of the way, hop in there. Okay. Okay. So we may not get back into the fives until 2026. And that's later in that year. So if you have if you can get a 7% loan and you can afford the payment, don't let anybody make you feel bad about getting your 7% mortgage where they're holding out to get a 5% mortgage. Don't you do it. You control how much interest you pay, because you don't want them to control it. I need to show you what's really going on with this mortgage. And I've used this example before, and I'm going to use it again. Okay. If you are, you own this home free and clear, and you're selling it for $400,000 at 7%. I need you to see this, especially the real estate investors. All right. Kay Patrice, what are you saying here? Yes, That's if you only pay the interest only, Patrice, but you don't have to. If my clients, I see this all the time, we pay off this loan with regular income in about 7 years. The interest only period is 10 years. Interest only does not mean you have to pay interest only. You can attack the loan. Let me go back to this part. This is on the Chase website. You may not have seen this at the beginning. And if you want, you can go to YouTube. Just click that link at the top and you'll be able to see this. Okay. Here are some of the pros. Okay. Can be paid off faster than a conventional loan. If you're making extra payments towards the interest only loan, the lower principal can generate lower payments each month. So you can put money on principal anytime you want. Okay, Patrice. So that if you pay it off in 7 or 8 years and you have a 10-year, term on this, listen, you don't have a loan. There's no balloon payment because the loan's paid off. Interest only does not mean you have to pay interest only. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So Sheree says, thank you for the clarity. Patrice, okay, says, okay, makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Scott says, current rates are outrageous. This is at least reasonable way to attempt to outrun the rates the way they sit now. Just never thought about it in this respect. The additional payment aspect to knock down, okay, along the way, etc. Yes, you want to listen. If you have money, very few people I know that don't have money left over at the end of the month just to pay. If they just pay their bills, okay, and not overspend on other stuff, you have money left over at the end of the month. And that money is very powerful if you know how to use it. I need to show you first what's going on here so you can understand it from this perspective. Let's say you are the bank, you own the home, and you're doing seller financing. You're doing seller financing. They're going to make the payments to you. Okay. I'm selling the home, and Bob is buying the home from Don. Bob is buying the home from me, and his payment is $2,661.21. Out of that $2,661, I need you to tell me how much of that money comes to me. Of the $2,661.21, how much of that money comes to me when Bob is making the payment? When Bob makes the payment to Don, how much of the $2,661 comes to me? I need somebody to put it in the chat or put it in the comment section. How much of that money comes to me when they're making the payments to me? I'm the bank now. I'm doing seller financing. I'm letting them pay me 7% interest. So $2,661.21. How much of that money comes to me? This is the breakdown, principal and interest. How much of that money comes to me? Can anybody tell me? Nikki says all of it, and that is correct. All of the money comes to me. I get all 2661. I get the whole thing. But because Derek Forston, you listen, I saw you come in here. Don't you be sitting in there. Listen, Derek, I'm going to I would love to have you here on YouTube with me. So I'm going to get I'm going to put that. Let me see here. Let me get invite you to come in to our live stream on YouTube. Okay. All right. So we're going to do this and copy that, get my phone. And Derek, if you can, I'm texting you right now, if you can, come into our, let's see here. I'm texting Derek, sending him the, all right. There's your YouTube link for StreamYard. If you want to come in, that's fine. Okay. But listen, so now catch this, folks. Catch this. All right. What is the formula? Ron, I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Can you come up to the stage? Okay. Can I invite you to speak? He says, what is the formula? I'm not quite sure. Because the form, well, right now we're using the amortization schedule. Okay. All right.
Yes, I was just thinking, is there a formula for that to determine what the interest rate and the principal payment is?
Yes. Okay. All right. I was just getting ready to go over that part. Okay.
Okay.
So what they use is this. All right. All right. Amortization. Okay. Okay. Formula. Okay. Here's the amortization formula, folks. This is what it looks like. Okay. That's what it looks like, Ron. But it breaks down like this. I'm going to make it as simple as we possibly can. All right. So here's what it looks like. The 7%, Ron. Okay. I got a 7% interest rate. What they do is they take the 7%. Let me bring up my calculator again. They take the 7%, 0.07, and divide it by 12. It comes to 0.0058 and a bunch of threes after that. This is the number that they use to multiply by the balance to give me the interest cost, and the rest goes to principal. Okay. So if we multiply this number times 400,000, which is our original balance, it comes out to 2,333.33. That's exactly our first interest payment. So that's what they're doing. All right. But if I'm receiving the money, I get to do the same thing. So the first interest payment is this. All right. So if my first interest payment is 2,333.33, and my total payment is, because I received the whole thing, 2661.21 divided by 2661.21 equals 8.876. Okay. That is, and because this third number is a 6, I get to round this 7 up to an 8. That's 88% of the payment I get to discount. I get to discount 88% of that payment because I am receiving the money. I get to receive all $2,661.21. But out of that, because of the amortization, it's discounted by 88%. So put it this way. Out of every dollar they give me, 88 cents I get to take away. Okay. And if I subtract 88 cents, that means they're paying down their loan with 12 cents out of every dollar, but I get to keep 88 cents. Ron, did you have something else to ask?
No.
Okay.
No.
You could go ahead and mute your mic for me then. All right. So does this make sense, everybody? Now, if I'm receiving that money, go ahead and touch that microphone in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay, I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's all right. I muted you. Go ahead and do it again.
Okay.
All right, I'll do it for you. There it is. There it is. Okay. So now, if I get to do that, being the bank or doing seller financing, does this look good for me? Do I like this if I am the bank? If I'm selling this to Bob, Bob is, out of every dollar he gives me, only 12 cents out of that dollar is paying on this mortgage. Do I like that? Yes or no, everybody? Ron Bench says, yeah, yes, I like that. Anybody else? Do I like it if I get to discount this payment by 88%? Daniel says yes. I'm gonna see Daniel in Florida. Okay. Thanks, Daniel, for coming. Listen, everybody. Now, I need you to see this. Remember, I'm receiving all the entire payment. And here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I'm looking at. If they want to pay me for 30 years, I lend them $400,000. All right, I give them the house and they have to pay me for 30 years. Why? Because their payment is severely discounted every single month by about 88% in the beginning. And only about 12% goes to the mortgage. And the rate of change, now that's a math term. What is the rate of change here? Meaning the rate of change that money goes to principal, and money is subtracted from the interest payment. So every single month, Bob pays a little less interest and a little more principal. A little less interest and a little more principal. Okay. But the payment remains the same. The payment doesn't change. The payment remains the same, but the configuration changes every single month. So, but the rate of change is so slow. It's so slow in the beginning. That's what makes this so valuable to me, right? Because it's so slow in the beginning. And people forget they're making a mortgage payment and they just make the payment and turn everything else off. They're just making the payment. And so they don't realize that out of the 30-some thousand dollars that they gave me. Hey, Derek, how you doing? Let me fix up this banner here. Hold on. There he is. Derek, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Don? Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, my brother. I'm going over this example here. So, and I know you have some questions or some comments, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up this example. Is that okay?
Hey, take your time, man. I'm just joining in. You take your time.
Okay. So, out of the 30-some thousand dollars he gave me, all right, out of only 4,000 pays back the loan. So how many more payments does he have to make? He has to make a ton of payments if only about, in the beginning, only about 12%, 12 cents out of every dollar is going towards principal. It's paying down the loan. Me as receiving the money, I like this because now I'm looking at, here's what I'm looking at. Lord have mercy. $400,000. And total interest paid is $558,000. That's a total of $958,000. As the one selling the house, I like all of that, don't I? Everybody. Okay? You like it too. All right? So watch this. If now Bob happened to see one of my videos on TikTok, saw one of my videos on YouTube or Instagram, or LinkedIn, or Facebook. All right, so our videos are all over the place. He happens to see one of my videos, all right? And then he says this, you know, if I make this payment here on line 1, I'm all done for the month. But I can take a look at the principal payment on line 2. If I give Don this $329.79 early, okay, I'm paid down to line 2. And Don has to use that interest rate on this number instead of this number, which makes my payment on line 3. My next mortgage payment is on line 3. So if I start in January, my February payment is now on line 3. Now, what am I doing? What am I looking at? Okay, so it's in the contract that he can pay the loan off at any time he wants. But he just gave me $329.79. He just got rid of line 2 on my amortization schedule for $329.79. What? What happened? Did I just lose $2,331.42? How do I feel about that, folks? How do you feel about that? If you are receiving the money and they prepay and you lose out on $23.31.42, do you feel that? Well, maybe you don't feel that. Maybe you don't feel that. Maybe, just maybe, if let's say, Bob is doing quite well. Bob has $4,000 in the bank. Okay. I'm looking at Bob to make 12 payments on this loan. And out of the 12 payments over to me, because I'm selling the house, the $27,871.29 times, plus $4,063.23. 0.23. Okay. $31,934.52. That's how much he has to give me. $31,934.52 to pay his loan down to where he only owes $395,936.77. Okay. Derek, do you see that? Okay. So this is where he is. Okay. I want him to be here. I want him to take 12 months to get to here. But he saw a video, that doggone P.I.L.L. method on the internet. He was watching the P.I.L.L. method. And he says, you know what? I have $4,000 in the bank. Why don't I make payment number 1 and give Don the $4,000 I was going to give him anyway, the $4,063.23. Why don't I just give it to him at one time? If I do that, I'm paid down to line 12 in 1 month. What just happened? He paid it all the way down to here, Derek. And how much interest was I able to discount? Only $2,333.33. He discounted my income by $25,559.62. I'm looking at getting all of this money from Bob, okay? Where Bob has to pay me $558,000. He just reduced my $558,000 by $25,559.62. Derek, I'm feeling that. Okay? Now, can we do a little bit more math? Because I wanted to discount Bob by 88% on his payments. What did Bob just do? So what we're going to do is Bob invested $4,000. Okay. His savings was $25,559. Okay. So that is his return on investment. So if we take the $25,000 that he just saved. Okay. Now I'm going to use the terminology that, Bob robbed me of $25,000 by paying me early. Okay. $25,559. Delete that. Okay. $25,559.62. Okay. All right. So now I have to subtract what he put in, the $4,063.23. So if I subtract that, $4,063.23. This is his net ROI. Okay. He put in 4,063. He saved 25,559 because he never has to pay me. Okay. And his net ROI on that is 21,496.39. You take this number and now divide it by what he invested. Now we divide it by 4,063.23. And then we take the answer and multiply it by 100 times 100. What is his return on investment? His ROI is 529%. Where else can you invest $4,000 and turn it into 529% ROI? Where else can you do that? So now who's being discounted? He's discounting me. Okay. I was looking to get $27,000 in interest to pay it down to here. I only got $2,333.33. What's going on? So folks, if you feel that when you're supposed to be receiving the money and they prepay and you don't get the money, how in the world can you not understand that if you're on the other end, you are now paying the bank the loan? Can you now see how much money you're actually saving because you're prepaying now? Does that make sense to you? So Derek, what do you think, man? Thanks for being here today.
Makes a lot of sense, Don. I love it, right? So even though I just joined in, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I love how you show the numbers, right? Because if you're just talking about it, it's hard to kind of follow it.
Yes.
But the way you show it on screen with the calculator and the numbers, right? So love it. It's good stuff, man.
So if I have an interest only loan, do you see that the bank determines how much principal I pay? So they're determining I pay principal every single month. So that reduces my ability to prepay what I want. If I have an interest only loan, Lord have mercy, I can add this to whatever I'm putting down, and I can kill the loan faster and cheaper if I have an interest only loan. And guess what? Every time I put money on principal, my minimum payment actually changes. It's the only loan out there where you can actually control your mortgage payment. So the mortgage payment would be the interest only part is $23.33.33. That's my constant payment if I have an interest only loan. But if I want to put money on principal, that means this number is calculated on $400,000. So Ron asked me before, what's the calculation? If I give them the $4,000 up front, okay, and I have if I give them $4,000 up front, and I have 395,936. Okay. If I have that to look at, here's what I need to do. I need to show you that if my interest rate is 7%, 0.07 divided by 12, now they have to calculate on this payment, which is, let's see, times 3 95 936.77. Okay. Now that's 2,309.63. That is right here. So if Bob, here's what Bob just did to me. He gave me this money up front on his very first payment, which makes his second payment on line 13 of my amortization schedule. He cut out 11 payments he'll never have to make to me. You can do the same. You can do the same. This year is timeout for remaining in this space where we don't understand how an amortization schedule works. You can be in complete control of your money, even on a conventional loan. You are in control of how much interest you pay. We're paying 75% more interest than we need to pay. So, Derek, let's talk about how people can get this information live in Orlando, Florida. All right.
Absolutely.
So we're coming to Orlando. I'm coming to Orlando, folks. All right. Coming to Orlando, and I'm going to put some. So, Derek, talk about that for just a minute, would you please?
Absolutely. Put a lower third on the bottom too. So that way they always see it, right? But
Okay.
January 31st, man, a lot of what you guys are hearing Don talk about, we're going to present this to you guys live, right? So in Orlando, Florida, January 31st, that's a Friday. So go ahead and check your calendars, book it now. So nothing else that's not so important, don't jump on that calendar. In Orlando, Florida, literally steps away from Universal Studios, guys. So we're telling people actually bring your family and make it a vacation. Right? Come and learn something that can change your life, but also come and relax, right? This is a brand new year, probably a great time to take a little bit of a vacation, right? But come and learn something that can change your life. January is usually a time where people want to kind of hit that reset button anyway, right? And eliminate debt, crush these interest rates, and all of these things that Don is teaching you guys. But coming to see Don live is something that's really different versus this YouTube, right? We were blessed last June to have Don feature at our event. We had over 7 speakers, and Don was the only person that got a standing ovation. So Don really kills it live. He's completely different in person. And I'm also very honored that we're going to be speaking. So if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Derek Forston, the proud owner and operator of Forston Consultants. And that's just simply a company where me and my family go all over the world showing people the concept of shared housing. So we're in the business of real estate, but shared housing more specifically. So we got this thing that we live by that says we love God, we love people, and we love real estate. And we show you guys how to mesh it all together. So these aren't group homes or ALFs or any of that stuff that requires a license or state oversight. This is just simply the love of God, social services, and real estate all mixed into one. So we're going to show you guys how to do that, right? Affordable housing is an absolute big problem. I don't care where you live at. Affordable housing is a problem. So we're going to show you guys how to be the beacon of light, if you will, in your community when it comes to affordable housing. And the greatest part about our concept, which is called ILFs, independent living facilities, it does not require a license. You don't have to own the property, and there is no state oversight. So again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, man, we want to see you guys January 31st. You guys can visit the website at popclive.com. And I jokingly tell people that's not your grandfather. That's just the acronym of, what it is, right? So it stands for P.I.L.Lars of Prosperity Conference Live. So it's P.O.P.C.L.I.V.E.com, popclive.com. We want to see you guys there. We want to be a part of changing your life, right? So again, January was a great time to kind of get that train on the right track, to eliminate debt, financially free yourself, 7 years or less, but also come and learn something that can change the trajectory of your family, but also be that light in your city for when it comes to affordable housing. Again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, we want to see you guys there.
All right, Derek, thank you so much. So listen, I'm showing this kind of information here, and this is just a little taste of what we're going to be sharing with the folks, that stuff they've never heard before. Now, You've heard me speak many times on Clubhouse or on YouTube. When I came to Orlando the first time, did you hear information you never heard before from me?
Oh, I did. And that's why I stress that people come and see you live, right? He can only do so much on this YouTube channel, right? And some of this stuff you just need to get it live, right? That he can't say right here, right? So Don, you brought out a lot of aspects. And again, man, the way you break it down when you bring the screen up, I'm somebody that needs to see it. So again, you would lose me if I wasn't able to see it. And for you to give us real world examples, you also allowed other people in the audience to give their personal kind of own scenarios. And you kind of even spoke to them on that. You met with people afterwards and poured into people. You signed books. You did a lot of stuff, man. And my crowd really, really appreciated you. In fact, half of them are coming back. So a lot of our people be repeat offenders, if you will.
Wow. So listen, Derek. So some of the comments you were getting from the folks that you know personally from that last conference.
Absolutely. They spoke about things that they appreciated. You laid out stuff that the bank is trying to hide from us, right? So they also spoke about your love for it. Obviously, if you guys been sitting around Don long enough, you guys know that he eats and breathes this thing, right? So this isn't something he just stumbled upon last week and thought it was pretty cool to bring to you. So you can see and feel the love that he has for it. And again, he owns the software system that is in charge of all of this brilliance that he brings to you guys, right? So I think it's pretty cool when our people said, Derek, you know that this guy's got a system that can tell you the month, the date, and the year that me and my family can be debt free. And a lot of people really enjoyed that, Don. They talked a lot about that, being able to take a vision back to their family in terms of, guys, this is when we can be debt free if we really put our hands to the plow, believe in this system, and follow everything that Don says. So we believe in something that's called move at the speed of instruction, move at the speed of revelation. So when you guys get this, when you hear it and you truly believe it can change your life, just move at the speed of instruction on it. And in my opinion, that first step is January 31st, which is a Friday in Orlando, Florida. Come see it. And like Don keep telling you guys, he's selling nothing at the back of the room. He's coming to give you the game of how to debt free your life. So that's pretty cool, Don. And that's what a lot of people really appreciated about you, man, how you were able to really pinpoint it. You also gave them that free analysis that you do. So I don't know if these folks know it, but you give everybody that free analysis, which allows you, your system, and your team to go to work to give your team a vision of how they can help. They really love that as well.
Well, see, that's called a savings report. And so we're going to put an example of the savings report up. And let me see here while you're talking there, but tell the folks a little bit about, you call it ILF, Independent Living Facility. I know when I first heard it, I was very, very intrigued about it. I never heard about anything like it. And now you're going to be doing something even more impactful with ILF. Tell us a little bit about ILF and tell us the new thing you're getting ready to do.
Absolutely. So ILF stands for Independent Living Facility. It's the exact opposite of a group home or an ALF. So most people have heard of an ALF before, right? An assisted living facility. The residents or clients that are being served, usually those, they need a lot of help, like bathing, ADLs, giving their medication, feeding them, things of that nature. We are the exact opposite. The people that we serve are like elderly adults, military veterans, the working individual. And these are just individuals that just can't quite afford their own apartment, and they can't afford to buy a house. So they don't mind living in a shared living environment. So that's what an independent living facility is for us. It's an environment where adults are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. Again, completely different from a group home or the traditional ALF, because of the people that we're serving, Don, they're completely independent. I jokingly always say this, but they can cook their own bologna sandwich. They can take their own medications, and they can provide their own transportation, either usually through Uber, Lyft, or their insurance company. So us as a provider, all we're really providing is a safe place, right? A roof over their head. My job is to keep the lights and the water running and allow these adults to live independently. And what we're super excited about, we've been doing this and teaching this for about 8 years now, but the newest thing that we're doing, you guys can see that on our Facebook page and Instagram at Forston Consultants, we're now moving this model inside of the mobile home parks. And if you guys know anything about mobile home parks, most of the time, they don't want you to like buy a place and then rent it to other people. Mobile home parks want you to live in it, right? But a lot of these mobile home parks they're struggling with empty lots and abandoned buildings. So we're getting into the process of now building relationships with park managers to do our model inside of the mobile homes, which also makes this more affordable now. Because Don, the cool part about this model, you don't have to really own the property. 90% of the properties that we do this out of, I actually rent or lease them, right? But Don, what I found out in my research and all of my learning, I can actually buy a mobile home for cheaper than it is that I can rent a brick and mortar house. So I've showed mobile homes on my page, like prime example, not even a week ago, I showed a beautiful place, guys. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath, and it was $5,000. That absolutely blows my mind that you own the property, or it's actually not called property because it's a mobile home. But can you imagine owning a 2-bed, 1-bath, anything that you paid $5,000 for one time? And then of course there's this thing called lot rent, and the lot rent's like $600. So again, guys, to us, that's an absolute no-brainer. And again, this is the way for us to expand what we're already doing inside of mobile home parks now. So we're excited about that.
So Derek, I know one of the things I thought of when I first heard about this. So if you're housing the homeless, how in the world can a homeless person pay rent?
We get that question all the time. So again, 95% of the people that we're serving, even though they're homeless, Don, they receive a guaranteed income every month. And it's called SSI or SSDI. So that is simply a social security income that they get every month without fail, right? So nothing stops it. So a lot of people that are listening right now have family members that receive SSI or SSDI. So that could be for a mental health or for like physical health. Make sense?
What are they doing out on the street then?
Don, they can't, well, that stems from a lot of places, right? But number one, financial. They have a set income. So a lot of times they can't afford their own apartment. They can't afford their own house. Sometimes, Don, they can't pass a background check. They don't make 3 times the monthly cost to rent the place. And nowadays, Don, who does make 3 times the monthly income, right? So it's really hard. So we house adults that don't mind living in a shared living environment, because if you don't want that, then this won't work. But if you say, yeah, man, I'm struggling, or this is affordable, so I'll use this to get on my feet. This model is genius for a lot of people that just simply, again, would be homeless on the street without us. So a lot of our people, because my background as a social worker, Don, is mental health. So I was a social worker for 9 years and just saw a lot of bad things when it came to housing. And one day I was just like, why not me? And Don, you know the story, man. I saw a lady making $41,000 a month, doing exactly what I'm telling you guys. But the only difference is, y'all, she was mistreating people, housing people in rats and roaches and in squalor. And when I saw it, man, it broke my heart. And when I realized how much she was making minus the impact, because this thing is all about income and impact. The money's great, but if you're not making an impact, this is baloney. These are God's people, and one day we're going to be held accountable for how we treated them. So we wanted to change the way homeless people were being viewed and change the way that we're housing them.
So how are you making it affordable then for them, Derek? How do you make?
Great question.
What's different?
With it being a shared living environment, they pay one set fee, right? So they're not responsible for like lights and water and cable and Wi-Fi. They come to me and I'm known as a one-stop shop. So prime example, right now in my city, you can't get a studio under probably $1,900 a month. My housing starts at around $740, right? And that includes lights, water, cable, Wi-Fi. So right there, Don, I become a no-brainer in my city. I also pitch it like this, right? The worst hotel in my city, they still want $80 a night. And I should call it a motel, actually, because it's not a hotel at that point. It's dirty, it's grimy. Some of them got roaches in it. And Don, they still want $79.99 a night, bro. So again, if you think about it in terms of what we offer, and again, if you guys are new to us, you guys can follow us at Forston Consultants. That's FORSTON Consultants with the S on it. And you guys can see what we're doing and what we're offering. Done. It's a no-brainer for the person that can't afford their apartment or to buy a house. So I'm that next step from you sleeping on the street.
So you're charging, I'm still not quite clear. $700 you're charging. How does that work again? How do you break that down?
So if that's a 4-bed, 2-bath home, let's just use 700 for even numbers.
Right.
That allows us to take 8 people from homeless to hopeful, because our model puts 2 people per room, unless that person wants a private room. And we can talk about that in a second. But most of our model, guys, and I'll say this really slowly because I know I talk fast and sometimes I stutter. If I go out and rent or lease a 4-bed, 2-bath home, envision that allows me to put 2 beds in each room, which also makes it very affordable for this individual. 700 times 8 people done is what? I'm not great at math, but I think that's like $5,600.
So that's what you're doing.
That's it.
It's per bed.
It's per bed. Exactly.
$700 per bed.
Per bed.
And they can afford that.
That they can afford. That
And still
$1,900 for that studio in my city, they cannot afford. They'll be on the street. But this model gives them community, right? Because remember, it's not just them. So some people done, now trust me, they hear this model like, oh my God, I'd never do that. But some people done, I hate to say it, they're forced into this because of the economy and things are just so expensive. They can't afford anything else. So I'm that middle ground done for the guy that says, hey, I don't mind a shared living environment because I'm not sleeping behind the dumpster and I don't want to be on the street. This guy got a one-stop shop. And Don, trust me, this ain't something I just thought of because I'm so genius. Don, I was a social worker and saw this for 9 years, people doing it around me. But Don, all of these people, what I noticed, most of them, they did it the wrong way. They mistreated people and did it in rats and roaches and filth and in squalor. And Don, it'll break your heart of some of the things that, and I'm going to show you guys January 31st, where all of this comes from. I'm no genius. God just blew on this thing, man, and he just blessed it. And now I'm the answer in my city through this affordable shared housing, and we teach it now all over the world. So we're excited about expanding it also to other people because the teaching is actually in 37 states now.
Wait a minute. Okay, a couple of things here. Number one, you said you were a social worker. I heard that. Okay.
9 years.
Okay. And then the other thing is you're teaching us to other people in other states.
Absolutely, man. It'd be crazy if it was just me.
So let's talk about those two things. You were a you're no longer a social worker. How did that happen? What do you mean you
I'm
were?
a social worker at heart, but in terms of going to a job 9 to 5, no, sir.
What? You quit the job?
I left my job to do this full time. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. The social worker job actually got in the way of me making a bigger impact in my community because I pushed paper and talked on the phone for 9 years helping people. But in this way, this is the only thing that I've done. I've started a lot of businesses, man. This is the only thing that combines the love of God, helping people, being the answer in my city, right? And again, pleasing God, because God is a part of all of this, man. And without God, this is all baloney. But because God is all over this thing, then, man, that's what makes it the cheat code. It done, not because we say it. The Bible says the poor and needy will always be among us. I'm the guy to take care of the housing.
Well, I tell you what, I love bringing people on our show that have ways of helping people and turning it into income. So, Derek, not only are you doing that for yourself, but you are also sharing this with other people in other states, teaching them how to do it. How successful are you at this?
Man, God has really blessed it, man. 7 years ago, it was one me and one house. Today, there's over 400 ILFs throughout 37 states.
Wait a minute.
That's through the teaching of it.
Over 400 of these
houses or ILFs throughout 37 states. And that's who the people that we teach it to.
What a legacy.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
It started at one house.
One house. One me
and now,
in Orlando, Florida.
And now because of you, there are over 400 others.
Yeah, because of me and my team, God first, but me, my wife, because my wife is a big part of this. My brother and I started this many years ago. Unfortunately, he passed away about a year and a few months ago. So my wife and I, we continue to carry that a legacy. And my wife does the same thing from a nonprofit standpoint. So you can do this from nonprofit or just being an LLC.
So now let's talk about how most people get into this by using the arbitrage method, or they rent or lease the property, and then then house these individuals. number one, Kent, I've been to one of your houses.
Yep.
Okay. It was beautiful. Anybody would want to live there.
Yeah. I wish
so
I could bring my slides up and show them, but I don't think I have control over your screen. But I could show them some of the stuff that we've done and what it came from.
Listen, man.
You was on our live the other night, Don, and you saw some of that stuff, man. It's heartbreaking of what people will put up with.
Well, I tell you what, down at the bottom, you can hit present. All right.
Okay.
And then once you hit present, then let's see.
Because you want to mind if I hit that one that says present, all of my stuff pops up, but I'm on your setting, so I'm not sure if that will work.
Yeah. If you do that, then you can hit let me see.
That says Google Slides though. And trust me, guys, I'm not techie like Don, y'all.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Okay.
So here's what you want.
Says your computer.
Here's what
I better not bother anything on my end, Don. I'll shut your whole show down by mistake. So you don't want me pressing buttons, bro. So so they can join us on YouTube every Monday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and also on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. And if there's a chat or something, they can type it in the chat for us. But at Forston Consultants, and again, very simple, man. If you love God, love people, and love real estate, this is just a way to merge it all together. Simple, man. Like, it's not rocket science. It's not a group home. It's not an ALF. None of that stuff that requires staff, oversight. People think I have staff, Don. Why would I need staff when I'm housing individuals that are completely independent? Don, they're just like me and you. You and I God just blessed you and I, Don, but we didn't fall through the cracks, big bro. Everybody that's listening to us right now was one mistake in life or one bad health crisis in life, one lost job in life from being where a lot of the people I'm housing. Now, Don, watch this. My background is mental health. That's my love. I love the bipolar, the schizophrenic, the major depressive. Like, that's my love. But guess what, Don? Today, I'm housing what I would call the everyday Joe. The guy that there is no mental health. There's nothing wrong with him. But many years ago, maybe he did something crazy that he broke the law and ended up in jail. Life went downhill. Don, you met a gentleman that made over $175,000 at one point in his life as an engineer. And help hit him. Not because he was just some bad, crummy guy. He was not the guy that's breaking in the stores. He was a regular engineer, blue-collar guy. Health crisis hit him. Wife passed away. He ends up on the street. But just one chapter ago in his book, he was making $175,000 a year in a gated community. Mercedes-Benz, great family, one health situation. So right now in January, we all should say, God, I thank you for a sound mind and an able body. Because again, we're all done one mistake. Some of these guys have made a mistake and went to jail. It could be health. Done, it's 1,000 reasons why these guys and ladies end up in these situations. But I just think for such a time as this, man, God has put people like us on this earth and people that want to learn this. Because again, and what's also cool about this concept, it's similar to a multifamily. All of you guys that dream to buy a multifamily with 38 units in it, I'm doing the same thing because I take one asset, 4-bed, 2-bath, and I house 8 people in one asset. Show me something that's similar to a multifamily other than this. And remember, guys, I can go and rent this building. So again, I keep saying it, but if you love God, love people, and you're trying to get into real estate, the ILF shared housing model is the greatest real estate play ever. Show me a real estate play that involves the love of God, social services, and the love for real estate all in one. I'll challenge anybody to that, Don. This is the greatest real estate play ever.
So Derek, so now you started out renting. So would you recommend that people stay renting, or are all your properties still rented?
So I rent a ton of properties, but if you're smart at it, eventually you save up that money, right? Don't go buy the Gucci belt and the Mercedes Benz. Put it as a down payment to go and buy a house. And then if you're learning Don's method and you're mixing Don, that's why Don and I are speaking together, guys, January 31st. If you hadn't noticed, guys, you should be mixing me and Don together. You guys should put me and Don in a blender and change your whole 2025. Are y'all getting that? Go to popclive.com, right? But Don, back to your question. What was that again?
So we're talking about. So are you? Do you actually own some of these houses now?
Right. So God has blessed us along the way where now we do buy these now. But the
Okay.
goal for most people done now, if you're blessed to go buy a house tomorrow or you already have one, God bless you. But 95% of the people that come to us for coaching and consulting, we got to teach them how to go out and rent or lease a place and what to say and how the verbiage sounds and all of that. But yes, Don, the goal is to eventually be in this long enough to where you start buying property. Okay.
Let's talk about that net worth now. So I'm going to put this on the screen, Derek.
Let's go.
Okay. So let me change this overlay. There we go. All right. So here's a person that's 300 mortgage of 390,000. They have other loans of 7,700. They got even credit cards, $18,000. Okay. So if somebody, you can come into this thing, all right, start out renting a house and buy it, all right, and pay it off in about 7 years. Look at this. Instead of 27, they're going to pay it off in 7. This is a savings and earnings report that you were talking about.
Yep.
Everybody gets this for free. Put in how much your debt is. Tell us what your income is, and we will tell you the month, day, and year you will be debt free. All right, debt free. This one says by June 2031 when we first fill this out. Okay. All right. So we're going to be able to tell you that. And instead of 27 years, you're going to be done in 7.6 years. That's saving 19.5 years.
19 years off of your life.
Now, take a look at this. Take a look at this while you're building net worth. When that house is paid off, that equity now is yours to do with whatever you want. Don't just sit on it. You can cash out, refi, and buy more. Okay. You can build this up so that the money you're no longer paying in interest. I need everybody to see this. They were supposed to pay $163,000 in interest, Derek, $163,000. And now they're only going to pay $41,000, saving $122,000. Take that money and invest it, the money that they gladly signed up to pay. Now, here's what's crazy about this, Derek. Here's what's crazy about this. They got this house.
Yep.
390,000. All right. Interest rates were pretty low back then, even at 2.38. Okay. All right. And still, they were supposed to pay $163,000 in interest. We're going to get them down to 41. See, a low interest rate doesn't mean low interest cost by any stretch of the imagination. So they gladly, not only did they put that down, I'm going to show you what 2.38 really looks like. Okay. 2.38. We're going to bring up okay. All right, Brett Whistle, $390,000. 2.38. You can. We'll never see that again. Okay. 2.38. Look at this. How much interest? Total interest paid is $156,000 still. $156,000. So low interest rate does not mean low interest cost. Okay. But if we can get that down to
that's a t-shirt, Don. You need to make that out of a t-shirt. That quote right there. That's powerful.
Okay. So here's what we're looking at. Now, not just 390,000, but the $18,000 in credit card debt, which averages 16.68%, and these loan and a loan at 9.93%. We're going to pay that off and save them $122,000. That is a 75% interest savings. And their effective interest rate, meaning what would the interest rate be? What would it have to be from the bank? Now, they were at 2.38 and they were feeling really good about it until I showed them that oh, what you're supposed to be paying is only $41,000. That would give you an effective interest rate of 0.64%.
Wow. Wow.
When you do the math. The money, so here's how they got into the house. They put a big down payment on this house so they can get it at 2.38 and still overpay by $122,000. By not giving that money to the bank, we're going to show them that over the next 17 years, the 19 and a half years, they can turn that money into $1,343,000 and grow their net worth by over 1.3 million. And these are folks with a W-2. They don't have a business. They got a W-2 income. This is going to be additional monies that they can add to their retirement, 1.3 million. And guess what, Derek? This is at 1% return on their money. 1%. So I'm sure that if you have money to invest, you're going to make more than 1%. Okay?
Yeah.
So Derek, do you have any questions or comments on a system that gives you all of this? Not only gives you the savings report, but financial education. It gives you fintech. It gives you technology that no one else has in the world to make sure that you pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible so that you can take money that was formerly going to interest and turn it into generational wealth for your family. So, and if you're in business, and if you're in this business, not only can you own the homes, but we'll show you how to cash out refi 10 to 15 years sooner. That means you're going to grow your equity at 5 to 7 times the regular rate. Cash out refi, meaning you're going to refi the property, take cash out 10 to 15 years sooner, and use that cash to buy more properties. What if you could do that? And if you can cash out 10 to 15 years sooner, that means you have more years to make compound interest. Oh, man.
Double whammy.
All the way around. All the way around. So what do you think about all this? Working together, helping people, not only helping the homeless, but helping their home.
Ooh, I love that. Not only helping the homeless, but helping their home. I love that. So I'm usually also called Derek for the people, right? I usually ask the questions that they're thinking, but they just hadn't put it in the chat or they haven't asked you yet.
Yes.
Somebody thinking, done, who is this for? Like, and what other debts does it cover? So that's a two-part question. Is this only about my mortgage? Can I include student debt, car loans? And also, who is this for? Like, is this for the everyday Joe? Is this for the businessman or the everyday W-2 guy? That's the question that I want to ask right now.
Okay, this is for anybody who wants to understand how debt works. And I want to show you right now something that I call the power of the penny. Okay, so we're going to put in $200,000. Okay, so folks think I need to have a lot of money. Okay, this is at 6%. And we're going to do a little bit of math. Derek, do you have a calculator handy?
I can grab one. Yep, I sure do.
Okay, great. All right. So we're going to do this together. All right.
Okay.
If I prepay on this loan, this is a payment of $1199.10 on a $200,000 mortgage. Okay. If you're new here on Clubhouse, go to the link above. You can see all these numbers online. Okay. So you on YouTube. So click that link so you can see it on YouTube. If we prepay $200, that saved me about $1,000 in interest. All right. So Derek, I need you to put $1,000 in your calculator.
Okay.
All right. And we're going to break this thing all the way down. And I'm going to put the calculator on. I'm going to put a calculator on the screen. Okay. So I'm going to prepay $200. And I'm going to save about $1,000 in interest. But I don't have $200. I have half that. I'm going to divide mine by 2. I've got $100. How much interest can I save if I only have $100? Divide yours by 2. So people say, I need to have a lot of money to save
500.
interest. So if I only have $100, Derek, and I prepay that, how much interest can I save?
500.
Is it worth it?
Absolutely.
But Derek, I don't have 100. I'm going to divide mine by 2 again. Okay. I got 50. How much can I save now? Divide yours by 2.
250.
250. Derek, if I only have $50, is it worth prepaying $50 on my mortgage? Because it doesn't do much to the principal, right?
Yeah.
But it will save me a ton of interest. Well, is it worth it to save $250?
Absolutely, it is.
Wait, oh man, no. I don't have $50, Derek. I'm divided by 2. I got 25. How much interest can I save?
$125.
Just $25 saves me $125. Derek, I'm going to keep going. I'm dividing mine by 2
And Don,
again.
I'm going to just jump in again because this is the part that my audience loved. And that's why I'm smiling, because for me, guys, I'll admit I'm a little bit of a knucklehead and I don't get things right away. This is the part of the presentation is what allowed it to sink in for me. When he gave the examples of the 200, and look how he's working his way down, because somebody gonna say, well, Don, I don't have 200. I don't have 100. And no matter how far you go down, and this is where people begin to stand up and scream and shout and clap for Don at our event on this example right here. Wow.
$12.50 saves me how much interest?
Wow. Let me go back to my calculator, man. $62.50.
Oh my gosh. But Derek, I don't have $12.50. Okay. And Derek, I gotta divide this by 2. I got $6.25. How much is that gonna save me?
$31.25.
Oh, Derek.
Enough to go out and grab lunch with you and your wife.
Yes. So listen, divided by 2 again. Listen, I rooted around in my couch cushions. I got $3.12, $3.13. How much
Still end up saving $15.
Are you kidding me?
So no matter how low you go, it's kind of like that game. How low can you go? How low can so?
So Derek, if we keep going,
excites me right here.
So if you gave me $3.13 and I gave you back how much? $15.
Mine went so low, Don, it stopped working.
Okay, that's okay. It was about $15. If you gave me $3 and I gave you $15 back, how many times would you do it?
All day long, twice on Sunday.
The bank has to do the same thing. You don't need a lot of money to save interest. And this is what scares the bank. This is what scares them. Not default, not paying the money back. What scares them more than default is you understanding how this works, and a small amount of money will save you a ton of interest. It cuts into their profits big time. This is why I want
you to know this, Don.
No, this is why this is not taught at any business school in the United States. I've never been, I haven't been to any schools in any other country. I just know what's happening here. But when I check, Chat GPT and other AI systems, and I do the research, no one anywhere is teaching this. We are the only ones. Now, Don, if nobody else is teaching it, how did you learn it? Folks, I have what's called ASD, autism spectrum disorder. When I look at this interest, when I look at this amortization schedule, I see the patterns that no one else sees. I see that if I prepay 245601, I don't have to, I knock a year off this loan. When I look at this thing, even at $200,000, if I'm not paying attention 5 years in, I've only paid this loan down by $13,800, but it's cost $58,000 in interest consumption. I asked that question in my book. How much interest are you consuming each and every month? The average family consumes 35 to 39% of their income in just interest, and they're not doing the math. This whole system is set up now. Listen, do you know I'm doing some research now on how many central bankers there are? There are 9 major central banks around the world. There's over 500, okay? But 9 major central banks, and they control trillions of dollars. So I'm asking the AI system, what is their major source of income? Guess what AI told me? Interest payments. Listen, our whole monetary system is set up to feed 9 major central banks around the world. And you thought it was set up so that you could buy your $700,000 house. No. What it was is that if I let them get a house and they get the car that they want, and they get the job that they want, and they get the vacations that they want, and they get the gold, platinum, or black card that they want, all right? And they can use these things as, prestige symbols. Guess what? I don't care if they can pay all of their bills on time. I don't care how well they manage their money. 35 to 39% of their income is interest. And it feeds our coffers. This is why how an amortization schedule works is not taught at any level of financial education anywhere. Derek, I'm hoping that we're going to have some real estate people in the meeting, some people who are mortgage professionals, but we did have an accountant in the last meeting. All right. Yep. And I've asked this question to real estate investors. I'm sorry, real estate agents, mortgage loan originators, people who are financial planners, CPAs, MBAs. It doesn't matter. Even if you own a brokerage, have you ever been taught how an amortization schedule works? And anybody I've ever asked that worked in finance said no. How in the world can you work in finance and the amortization schedule is the basis of all of it around the world, and none of us has been taught how it works? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Okay? What I am is a realist. And if you've never been taught this, you're losing money hand over fist. And it doesn't feel like you're losing. Why? Because you don't miss what you can't measure. And when I show people how much interest they're actually losing each and every month, they are floored. When I show them how they can stop losing all of that money, they get an encouragement that they've never felt before in life. They feel empowered when it comes to their money now. We answer questions about finance, Derek. We answer problems that people don't even have the questions to yet. And so people ask me, Don, why isn't this on TV? Why isn't this, why are people shouting it from the housetops? Why isn't it on the talk shows? Why isn't everybody talking about it? Why aren't our politicians talking about this? Because you were never supposed to know. If I gave your CPA $500 and I told your CPA to put $500 on their mortgage, now tell me how much interest you saved, your CPA could not tell me. Not because they're not smart. It's because they were never taught the math to figure it out. There's something wrong with the system that does that. And we are going to start correcting it. When are we going to start correcting that, Derek?
January 31st in Orlando, Florida. Yes, sir.
All right. Go to popclive.com, ladies and gentlemen, get those tickets. All right. We're going to start. That's where I'm going to introduce. I am going to be introducing my $4,600 course. And it's only going to cost you $200 to get in. We're going to be speaking all day. We're going to teach you how to read an amortization schedule. You're going to learn about ILF, and it also includes lunch.
Absolutely. And not a box lunch either, Don.
Okay. Mr. Patel is asking a question. What is this all about? Mr. Patel, just so that you can know, you probably never seen this before. Okay. But I have a $200,000 mortgage on the screen at 6%. The payment is $1199.10. I show people how to read an amortization schedule so they can cut their interest costs by about 75%. Let me give you an example of how to read this. I'm not giving you my program. I'm just giving you an example of how to read this. So when you pay this mortgage, only $199.10 is applied to principal. $1,000 goes to interest. The next month, $200 goes to principal. $999 goes to interest. But if you start this loan, if you start this whole thing in January, your February principal payment is $200.10. So, Mr. Patel, do you have to wait till February to give the bank this $200.10, or can you pay it early? If you do, you're paid down to line 2 in January, meaning your next mortgage payment is actually on line 3, and you save this $999 in interest you never have to pay. Most people are unaware of how much interest they're paying. We're showing you how you can give the money back to the bank in a way that makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. So what if we did this? I've got a little bit of money in the bank. What if I had, $600? That's $200.10, $201.10, $203.10. That's $603.30. Are you telling me I could take $603.30, apply it to principal, make my very first payment, and apply $603.30 and knock out this one, and this one, almost $3,000 in interest, and my next mortgage payment is actually on line 5? We're showing people how to kill interest and how to kill payments, cut their interest costs by 75%, and pay off not only this mortgage, but their student loans, their credit cards, their car loans, and everything else in about 7 years. So pay only principal. No. So I'm just giving you what would happen. So if you pay the principal portion, next month's principal portion on any loan, you knock out the interest on that line. That's what that means. So if you pay an exact amount, which our software does, so which our cloud-based AI computing platform will tell you exactly how much you can pay with your income and with your expenses. It can tell you how much to pay and when to pay it, so that you can leverage your money to the point where you're saving the maximum amount of interest per dollar applied. What does that mean? Let's just say that we could figure out for you that the most you can save per dollar is $6 in interest per every dollar. That means for $2, that's $12 in interest. Okay. So $6 in interest for every dollar. How do you know you're not saving $4 in interest for every dollar applied? You don't. You certainly wouldn't want to accept $4 in interest if you could save $6 in interest for every dollar. You want to put the right amount to the right loan in the right month on the right day of the month, so you can pay the least amount of money you have available to maximize the amount of interest you're saving per dollar. This is where this is going this year. Everybody Everybody, including you and you and you and you, everybody deserves to know if they want to know. And we only want to talk to people who want to know. If you don't want to know this, that's quite all right. There are a lot of people who don't. But those who do pay off all of their debt in an average of 7 to 9 years, killing that interest cost, getting equity faster and cheaper, taking money and reinvesting it into building net worth, and regular W-2 individuals become millionaires from the interest they're no longer paying.
Getting equity faster. I like
and cheaper.
Can you talk about that for a second? Because we got some people that are coming that are real estate investors, and they're going to love when you say create equity faster. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so let's say this is one of my properties. Okay, this is one of my properties. So I'm showing them they have well, let me do this. Let me show a big amount. Can I show you a big amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a client. Okay. Let me see here. Nope, that's not the one. Let me pull it. Let me pull that one up. There we go. Okay. Here's a real estate investor. Okay. They have a total of $2,236,000. Okay. We're going to show them how, instead of paying $1,123,195, we're going to show them how they can cut their interest cost all the way down to $231,000. That's an $891,000 savings. And if they wanted to, they can pay, instead of 21.9 years, they can pay it off in 4.9 if they wanted to. Okay, if they wanted to. Now, it says, Don, do you have to throw a lot of money at the debt to do this? Nope, because the majority of their money, they bring in about $58,000 a month. Okay, let me see if I can find that there. Let me see here. They have, we're looking for okay, I must have, did I delete it by accident? Okay, I'm not finding it. But anyway, so here's what we're looking at. We're going to bring that back. Okay, so I'm going to show you one of their loans. Okay, I'm going to show you one of their loans and show you what I showed him. And because they are bringing in about $58,000 a month, the mortgage payments on these loans are about $14,000. Okay, but the majority of that money, that cash flow, he's immediately reinvesting. About 11% of his income he puts in a reserve fund. It's about $6,000 a month he's putting in that reserve fund. Okay, so let me pull this up. All right, and we're going to put that information. Oops. All right. Into an amortization schedule. Okay. His payment is $8,704. And I'm going to show you the example that turned this on for him. His interest rate is at 5%. It's 300 months or 25 years. Here is the amount of his loan, $1,488,000. Okay, so here's what I got to show him. He's making all this money, over $58,000 on these 2 office buildings per month, even with vacancies. Okay, He's making that kind of money. And the mortgage payments are about $14,000. Okay, but about $6,000 goes into a reserve fund. He's taking everything else and investing it. He thought that was the way to do it. And he's making so much money, Derek, he wasn't paying attention to how much interest he was actually paying until we pointed it out. So in what we're doing here, we have $30,000 going to principal, but $73,000 going to interest. So out of all the money he's bringing in, it's over $104,000 he's paying out. But he's making so much money, he's not realizing that out of the 104,000, his equity is only $30,699. Okay, that means he's discounted $73,000 that he wasn't paying attention to. Why? Because he was making so much money on the front end. Okay, if you're new to Clubhouse, make sure you click on the link above so you can come and see these numbers. So I showed him. I asked him, of that money you're putting away in your reserve fund, the $6,000 every month, about how much do you have in the bank? He said about 100,000. I said, well, this isn't how my program works, but I want to ask you a question. Out of that $100,000, if you wanted to, could you borrow from yourself about $30,000 and prepay it and be paid down to here in 1 month? And if you did that, instead of paying $73,000 in interest, it would only cost you $6,000 in interest. Would that make a difference to you? Because the $30,000 doesn't change. You're going to give this to them not over 12 months, but you could give it to them in 1 month. It says, well, yeah, I guess I could do that. All right. But I can't keep taking money out of my reserve fund because then I would deplete it. I said, well, you don't have to. What if, so you're putting about $6,000 a month in? Yeah. You're going to take $30,000 out? Yeah. So then if we don't make any other extra payments, we're just making the regular payment, we're already down in 1 month. We're already on line 13 of your amortization schedule. So how long would it take to put the $30,000 back at $6,000 a month? He said about 5 months. I said, well, couldn't we just make regular payments for 5 months? That would be this payment and this payment and 3, 4, 5. Now, is your $30,000 back? Says yes. Could you do it again? Put another $30,000 on and knock off another 11 or 12 months. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we could be here. We could be down to here. So we paid the first month. We added another 5 months. In 7 months, Derek, we've taken off 2.5 years off this loan. That's what I mean by getting equity faster and cheaper. Okay? And you're muted.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. And the gentleman in the chat also thanks you very much for explaining that, Mr. Patel.
All right, Mr. Patel. Thank you. Listen, I appreciate, we appreciate questions all the time. But listen, he's getting this much equity at about, instead of 175,000, maybe about 25 or 30,000. So is he getting the equity, the same $76,000, but he's not paying $175,000 for it? He's paying about $25,000 to $30,000. When you add it all up, what is it costing him in interest? So folks, this is what we mean. You were never supposed to know this.
Wow.
It's not taught in school. You didn't get it in high school. You didn't get it in college. And I don't care what you're doing in finance. I've talked to people who work at the World Bank, and they are even our clients, because not even at the World Bank is this taught. And you know what? They didn't even realize they didn't know it. They learned what an amortization schedule was. They know what it is. They even know how to create it on a spreadsheet, but they didn't know how to read it and how to beat it until they met us. And now you can know too. You can get a savings and earnings report today by going to ice10k.com. You can get a savings and earnings report today. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a new window. So go to ice10k.com. Right? Scroll down under ET's picture and click on Get Your Savings and Earnings Report today. You need to know. But if you really want to understand this, you can get your savings and earnings report today. You can even get the program. I still want to see you.
January 31st.
January 31st, so that you can get a full understanding. You know, people like fast, Derek. They want what's the magic bullet? All right. What one thing can I do to make this work? No, there's not one thing you can do. You have to get rid of everything you've been taught and to learn it anew. Some people don't want to learn what's new. They just say, you know, give me the main formula and just give me the basics. But if you really want to understand it so you can teach your children, oh man.
Yep. Forget everything that you thought you knew about finances and debt and interest. Just forget it all. This is one of those events where I talk about come with that clean slate as a blank canvas and come and just really learn something that can change your life, guys. Because if you're listening to it and it intrigues you, again, him live and in person is also a lot different. And you guys appreciate Don more once you see him live. So go ahead and book your tickets. He's scrolling it below. He's also putting some stuff on screen. But popclive.com is the website, and that stands for P.I.L.Lars of Prosperity Conference Live. So that's POPCLIVE.com. And tickets are only $200, guys.
and listen, I'm getting ready to tell you, we're going to be doing this all over the country. Yep. And the next one, I guarantee you, will not cost $200. Okay, it will not. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I heard that.
This is the introduction. Okay. Yeah. And what we need is we're doing this so that when people come and see what's happening, we want to capture those testimonies. Yeah. And when we capture those testimonies and put them on our website, I guarantee you the value is going to skyrocket, and it will not be $200 next time. Get your ticket now, because this price is going away. Not only do you get, yes.
They're also asking about, I'm getting some messages text in. They're asking about couples tickets. Can like the husband and wife, is there a special ticket for couples?
Let's see. There it is. Secure your couple ticket. Okay. $300.
Okay.
Okay.
Love it.
Secure your couple ticket for $300. Get there and get this information. It will, it's not hyperbole that it will change your life. It will change your life, because it's going to go against everything that you've ever been taught when it comes to lending, borrowing money. Okay. Everything that you've ever been taught. Do I have any questions in Clubhouse? Okay. That question was for you, Jonathan. All right. So they're learning so much. Great. Let me check in on, let me check here. Okay. We don't have any other questions. So folks, if I don't have any other questions and people are, because everybody else is at work, this is your last opportunity to ask a question today. Okay. In 7 minutes, we're going to be shutting it down early. Okay. We're going to shut it down early today. So if I don't have any questions, then I'm thinking that everybody is satisfied with the information that they have. Come up to this, raise your hand, come up to the stage if you have a question, or put it in the chat, because I love to get questions. And we're going to have question and answer portion in Orlando. We're going to have 4 speakers. It's going to be one day. We're going to have a fabulous plated lunch. And Derek, what are the choices for the entrees?
Steak, salmon, or chicken? So it's very nice done, very bougie, plated lunch, glassware, none of that plastic stuff,
No,
no
not on
sandwich
plastic
in a
plates.
no
Not on
plastic
paper.
plates, no sandwich in a plastic bag, none of that stuff done. Everything is going to be so first class, and that's what we pride ourselves on. Most people brag more about the food and stuff, believe it or not, sometimes, guys, because we want to make sure, because one thing about people, I don't care where you go, if you don't feed them right, if that food isn't right done, they're going to talk about you. So we make sure that the information is A1, the experience is A1, right? But also the food and the information, guys. Again, come in and learn something that can change your life. I'm here done for another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So if you guys got even questions for me about the ILF, real estate, shared housing, I can answer some of that stuff too. But I got to run into a meeting here in just a bit. But I appreciate you guys, Don, Daniel, Jonathan Bean, all of you guys from the Clubhouse family for allowing me to come on and share also what we do and to also come and support Don. I really appreciate that.
Well, listen, we appreciate Jonathan Bing and the Mortgage Syndicate for giving us this space every Wednesday. And we come in.
So, Don, you're here every Wednesday, Don?
Every Wednesday.
Mortgage Syndicate.
Mortgage Syndicate every Wednesday that I'm not on vacation.
Okay. And that's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.?
That's 8 a.m. Eastern. We start. 7 a.m. Central, we start. And we are giving out this free game. And not only that, but you can see the replays. It's up on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. All right.
A lot of my people found you on YouTube, Don. They're soaking up your info on YouTube. I mean, they're watching stuff back to back because they're telling me about it. So my crew also appreciates you as well. So thank you so much for all the free information that you give out on YouTube.
And if you want more information, all right, and you said, listen, I want to get prepared. What am I want to have some background before I get to Orlando. Okay. So what you want to do is go to ICE10K.com, ICE10K.com, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com, and scroll down. There is all of our social media. Okay. And
so you're everywhere.
Yes. So go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram, go to TikTok, go to YouTube, Facebook. We're posting shortened videos between 3 and 10 minutes long with question and answer. And we're showing the numbers, all right, between 3 and 10 minutes long so that you can get an idea of what's going on. So follow us on social media and start getting bits and pieces of what it is that we're doing so you can begin to appreciate it. And we'll see you. We want to see you in Orlando. I want to see you live. I want to be up close and personal. I want to shake your hand. Okay. So let's get there. And then we're going to be able to tell others your participation in this. Your participation in this is more than you think. When you go back home and you start telling people about this, Derek, I want to be like you. I want people all over the country to know about this. And you are now teaching people who are now teaching others. And this whole thing about ILF is growing. Did you ever think it would be to this point where you would have people out there, and because what God has given you, there are 400 houses out there that are housing formerly homeless people?
Yeah, I dreamed of it, Don, but just didn't imagine that it would happen this fast, actually. I'm going to call it fast. 400 houses in the amount of time that we've started teaching this. 2019 was the kind of the discovery of the consultant side of it. I was already housing people, but 2019 is when we got into teaching it. And again, I did imagine it. I'd be lying if I say I didn't. I just didn't know what's going to happen so fast, because God told me really fast in the beginning, Derek, as great as I'm going to make you, you can't house everybody. Derek, find a bunch of like-minded people like you that have the same heart that want to do my will through real estate and teach it to other people. Derek, be the opposite of how they did you. So, Don, people hid this from me. As you know, I tried to get into it for 2 years, lost 60 pounds trying to figure it out. But once we got it, that was one of the first promises that I did make to God. I said, God, if you ever let me get into this and leave my job, God, I'll go all over the world teaching and I'll never take any credit. So I'm quick to tell people that I'm a nobody, but with God, all things are possible. And most people, I say this jokingly, most people think we're a genius because of this model and how we do it. But Don, I'm quick to tell people, no, I'm not. I'm just somebody that God took an example of. He went, he blew on this business that we started, and now we just teach it all over the world, trying to expand it. Because again, no matter where you live at, it's expensive. So this whole shared housing concept that we've developed and come up with, we believe that it's the game changer, and we're spreading it all over the world. So again, January 31st, we want to spread it to you all. So again, man, you guys will be very smart if you combine what Don is teaching and what we're teaching and combine it together. That can change your life in 2025. And I promise that. And I don't promise a lot of stuff, but through our coaching, and I know Don and I trust his whole brand, if you combine Don's mission with what we're doing, I can guarantee you your life will absolutely change.
Wow. So my story is similar, Derek. Listen, because of having, I also have ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. There are times when the thoughts I have in my head, I can't find the words to express them. So sometimes I'll stutter, and it'll take me a minute to get the words out. That's how. Listen, God, why would you give me somebody who talks like this such a mission to go out and spread this word? Yeah. Okay. Not only that, but I got C's and D's in math.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's not you give this information to somebody who doesn't even do math well. And so I guess it was so that I couldn't take any credit.
That's it.
I can't take the credit. There's absolutely no reason for me to know what I know about amortization schedules. None whatsoever. But when I look at it, I see the pictures and the patterns. Yeah. And over the last 19 years, I've learned how to, at least in simplified language, tell you what's going on and how you can benefit. Man, oh man. Listen, what a journey. What a journey.
Superpower, as we call it. Don, you actually have a superpower. That's what we call it, right? You're able to see numbers and patterns different from any of us, right? And it's called a superpower, right? And because of that, man, God blessed you in this wonderful system and your staff and your team. Hey guys, Don is great, but guess what? He's got a great team too, right? Don is not some one-man show, right? So Don has got a great team and a software system behind him. And guys, it's trusted. It's been tested. I think right on his front page, he's got a picture of E.T., the hip hop preacher, right? What a testimony to be able to help a guy like that. So Don, I actually got to run. I'm going to go, but I would encourage you, Don, to show the people that testimony from E.T. Like I'd show that every time I come on if I were you, because if you don't trust me, everybody knows the hip hop preacher E.T. and Don helped save his life and his family through what we've just discussed today. So again, guys, January 31st, I want to meet you all face to face as well. I want to shake your hand. Obviously, a lot of you guys are on Don's platform and y'all follow him, but welcome to the Forston family as well. Don is my family as well. So we want to meet you guys. And again, don't wait to be great. And watch this. This is something that we live by. Two things. Don't wait to be great. And procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God will give you more time for something he's already told you to act on.
Come on.
Don't procrastinate. One more time, really slowly. Procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God will give you more time for something he's already told you to act on. So let's act on it. Let's book these tickets. Couples, get your couples tickets. I think he's doing business partners with that. Guys, come to the event. Enjoy yourself, but come and learn something that can change your life. My name is Derek Forston, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right. My name is Don Daniel. And listen, we'll go to popclive.com. So crawling across the screen. Also, we had earlier the number that you need to go, but go here. It's going to be easier. Get that done. And we're going to hear from E.T. and then we are out. See you next Wednesday live, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.